All right, today we're talking about the top 3 ways to fail in voiceover. I'll give you the most common ways to fail in the voiceover business, the 3 biggest mistakes you can make in voiceover marketing. And stick around because at the end, I'm going to give you the 2 reasons why most voice actors make these 3 most common mistakes. All right, one of the greatest things about voiceover to me is that we get people in this business from all conceivable walks of life. We've got stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads. We've got former artists, broadcasters, cable stringers, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, you name it, we've got it. And I think the diversity of our business is absolutely beautiful. But also, because of that diversity, that means that most people that come into voiceover have no sales and marketing background. And that's not their fault. It's just the sheer odds of we've got so many people from so many different backgrounds, very few have sales and marketing expertise or experience. And yet, sales and marketing are 2 of the most crucial functions of any business on the planet. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is that we've got a plethora of technique coaches and gurus who can teach you the technical end so that you can produce a quality audio product. And we have those 2 parts of the business nailed down pretty tightly. But as an industry, we've been abysmally slow at teaching people how to go out and find the work that we've so adeptly trained them to do in the first place. Look, the traditional model for decades in this business looked like this to find work. Casting director, talent agent, talent. You were either union and you worked a lot, or you weren't union and you didn't work much at all. But with the dawn of the 21st century, technology gave rise to 2 major changes. Number 1, the explosion of digital media as a marketing tool. Every company in the world is now a media company, and there is more work out there for voice actors than there ever has been in the history of the planet. Number 2, companies began to work directly with voice actors to develop their own smaller rosters and own their own relationships with voice talent. And we've been trained, especially here in the US, that the audition is the only way to get work. And for decades, it was. But what has happened is that has trained us to be a very passive industry. We suck at marketing. We would rather sit and audition and sail them into the ether hundreds and hundreds of times rather than sit down and do the work it takes to build relationships at scale to find our own business. We'd much rather get an agent or 6 and wait for our inboxes to fill up with auditions than to sit down and find our own work. And the funny part is, if you sit down and talk with voice actors, and I've spoken to over 50 about this, if you ask a voice actor what success looks like, most of them will say recurring work, regular clients. I rarely ever heard anybody sit down and say, well, you know what? I would just love to audition all day long. The fact is, if you're fishing where all the other fishers are, in the cattle call auditions, there are voice actors out there with way less talent booking way more work than you because they know where and how to go about finding the work. Now, here are the 3 most common ways to fail in your voiceover business. Mistake number 1. You're not reaching out to enough people. In the most recent State of VO survey, 73.5% of voice actors reported to the voice actors of New York City who conducted the survey that they reach out to market their services less than 3 times a day. Less than 3 times a day. What business in the world can you have where you can talk to 2 people or less a day and expect to be successful? This is a numbers game. Every time I hear a coach tell somebody, well, you need to reach out to 5 or 10 people a day, I cringe. 3/4 of our entire industry makes less than $40,000 a year, also in the State of VO survey, and 3/4 of our industry talks to 2 people or less a day. Do you think that's a coincidence? And do you think talking to a few more people a day is really going to solve that? It won't. Mistake number 2, you're not reaching out to them often enough. I can't tell you how many voice actors I've spoken to who have said something like this. Well, you know, I've developed, or God forbid, bought a list of 300 or 500 or 1,000 emails, and I've reached out to those people and I didn't get any business at all. I've said this before. One sit-up ain't going to make you fit. Reaching out to 1 contact 1 time is not going to do anything. Reaching out to 1,000 contacts 1 time is not going to do anything. Across industries, on average, it takes 8 touches to engage a prospect. And the odds of reaching out to a prospect at that exact moment that they have a project that you'd be perfect for are astronomical to none. Try telling a toddler, no, don't touch that. That's dangerous. 1 time. See how far that gets you. Marketing is the same. It takes repetition over time. It takes time for people to hear the message. You also have to keep in mind balance. Reach out too often, you'll do nothing but annoy people and push them away. Reach out too seldomly, and you won't stay on the radar of that prospect when a project does come up for which you would be perfect. Mistake number 3, and I've said this before, you're wasting time on social media. I'm not sure how this idea or concept got started or when or where, but the idea that you have to spend all your time reaching out and engaging with prospects on social media on multiple different platforms, spending all your time doing that as a primary means of attracting work is quite frankly total crap. Traditional social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they're not essential for building your business, especially when you're establishing yourself as a voice talent. Stalking people on social media is creepy and time-consuming and not very effective. In the first few years of your career, you're still establishing yourself. You need to create the biggest push to start the momentum going at the exact time in your career where you have the least time to devote to it. You're a side hustler doing this part-time, or you're a new full-timer who hasn't figured out how to properly prioritize your time so that you don't waste any time. And time, my friend, is your most precious asset. Wasting it on social media is deadly. Once you're established and you have more bandwidth and more time, then you have time to devote to social media. So why are so many voice actors making these 3 common mistakes? There are 2 main reasons. As I said at the top, most people come into this business with no sales or marketing background and don't have a basic command of solid marketing principles. You just don't know, in large part, who to reach out to, what to say it, and how to follow up. Reason number 2, you don't have a plan and a system. Look, to reach out to people in sufficient volume. Remember mistake number 1, you're not reaching out to enough people? You need an efficient, scalable system to do that and to scale your time and effort. Everybody thinks they're organized. Oh, I have a spreadsheet that I use and I make a little note about everybody I talk to. You know what? That's like going into a war zone with a plastic Captain America shield. Good luck with that, because it's not going to handle the kind of volume with which you need to reach out to people. You don't have a suitable suite of competent and capable tools working together that allow you to scale your time and effort. You're under-systematized and under-equipped. My mission is to teach people what they, through no fault of their own, don't know, and to give them a system and a plan and a process by which they can grow relationships at scale that lead to consistent revenue and income. If you want more info on that, click the VO Freedom Master Plan link in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, and pound that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we publish a new video every Thursday. Also, want to know what the biggest threat to your voiceover business is? Check this out right here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.